minute.
Yeah.
Girl, I want. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Movie Night with the Youngs. I am one of your hosts, Nicole.
And I'm Brittany.
And we are back with another episode of our podcast. And we are doing Goofy Movie this week.
Woo!
And Brittany, would you like to share your shirt?
Oh, for all of you watching on YouTube, I have a Powerline shirt on from the concert, if you can see it. And on the back, it's got all the concert dates. 3 years old from Target. It's cool.
It's very fancy.
Thanks.
Well, if you are new here, welcome to our channel. Brittany and I are two sisters. Brittany and I are sisters who rewatch movies from our childhood and determine whether they're still nostalgia or they hold up.
Technically, we are two sisters. You're a sister. I'm a sister. There's two of us.
True. It just
We're
didn't
just each
flow
other's
very well.
sisters. Meh.
Yeah. So like I said, we are doing a Goofy movie this week. It's from 1995, Disney, directed by Kevin Lima, I believe, starring Bill Farmer, Jason Marsden, and Jim Cummings.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't forget Tevin Campbell as Powerline.
He's not a character. He's just a singer.
Still, we're mentioning him because he's worth mentioning.
All
right. So, Goofy movie. Sorry, I have my notes down here. So if I'm looking down, I am looking at my notes.
I think people know by now.
Yeah, probably. But if you're new here, that's what I'm doing. So the beginning of the movie has this opening credit scene of Max. He's basically dreaming. And Max is the son of Goofy, and he's dreaming of Roxanne, who is going to be his crush throughout the movie. And he's dreaming about her, and they almost kiss, but before they kiss, basically his worst nightmare comes to play, and he all of a sudden starts growing really big. His ears get really long, his teeth get really big, and he does that iconic Goofy laugh. He's like, "Huh?" Yeah. Which is his worst nightmare.
Wait, I actually have a question. That's my first note. Is it that it's his nightmare is to turn into his dad specifically, or to turn into a goof?
So I thought about this too. And I feel like if you analyze their relationship in the beginning of the movie, I feel like his worst nightmare is turning into his dad specifically.
Oh, see, I think it's the opposite.
What?
I think
he's
it's
just a goofball.
He doesn't want to turn into a goof.
Yeah, I mean, you could read it either way, I think.
Because then it leads into my next thing, but keep going.
Yeah, I mean, either way.
Questions right off the bat. It ends
in a nightmare. Yeah, it ends in a nightmare, and he wakes up.
Yes.
Poor Max. But so obviously he wakes up from that nightmare. He's late for school. Mm-hmm. His friend. So here's another question already. Oh. So is his friend Pete Jr.? Because they call him PJ, but then Max says like Peach. And I kept rewinding it, and I keep hearing Peach.
He's probably saying Peach.
Could be Peach. Yeah.
For PJ.
Yeah.
But it is stand for Pete Jr.
Yeah. We'll call him PJ because it's just easier. And he is basically telling him, like, you need to get to school because they have this master plan, which they don't say what it is at that point. Mm-hmm. But Goofy comes in and tries to wake up Max. And I feel like this is where you kind of get the first impression of their relationship. Yeah. Goofy, what's that face?
No, I'll say it when you say it.
Oh, so Goofy comes in, obviously super happy, telling him to get up. He's wanting him to clean his room. He's in like a towel. He's got it like wrapped around his head, bunny slippers. He's basically acting like Goofy, or like the traditional character Goofy as we know him.
Sure.
And Max wants nothing to do with him, really.
Yeah, he just wants to get out and go to school.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he
wait. I haven't said what was making my thing. This part was very interesting because Max like wakes up like he's just in his like tighty whities and like a sleep shirt or whatever he's wearing. But I don't understand. So Goofy and Max, they wear gloves, but they don't wear socks. Like it's very weird that they have like these white gloved hands, but then they have these like bare black feet, which also Goofy nub toes, not a fan.
I didn't even notice that.
They're like little nubby toes. They're so far apart. Like the gaps between them. I wasn't a fan of it. But like this moment, I was just like, I don't understand. Why do you guys wear gloves, but you don't wear socks? Like you wear gloves all the time. They don't take them off.
Yeah.
But you don't wear socks all the time.
Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting.
That is an interesting point.
Mhm.
We'll ponder that while we move on.
Yep.
But another thing too, if you notice in the scene, Max's room is set up with a bunch of Powerline
Yeah, he's
posters.
obsessed.
Yeah. And there's even a portion where Goofy, I don't know why he's vacuuming his clothes. That's
Because
just
it's
weird.
funny. I don't know why he's
Um,
cleaning his room, period. Max is a grown teenager. Make him clean, Goofy.
yeah.
Like,
But Goofy's like the passive dad.
yeah.
He's not gonna tell him to clean his own room. He's just like, well, we've talked about this.
Mm, just clean your room.
But yeah. And he almost sucks up the Powerline poster and Max freaks out.
Yeah, which is also rude. Your dad's cleaning your room and you're getting mad at him?
Yeah,
Max,
yeah, yeah.
be
So you
grateful.
get a little glimpse of their relationship right there. Max is not very appreciative, obviously.
Mhm.
And Goofy's just Goofy. So Max is on his way to school and they bust out into song. Apparently
Yeah.
everyone in the neighborhood and in the school knows the same song
Yeah, I like that
randomly.
song. What is it called?
I don't know.
But I know a lot of the parts of it, though.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like in the song they show like all the stereotypical groups of high school.
Yeah, I have down it feels like, this opening song is like the opening credits of 16 Candles. It's like a John Hughes movie, but in cartoon. Like, yeah, you see the jocks, the goths, the
Mm-hmm.
cheerleaders, the cute girls, the cute guys, the nerds. Like, you
Yep.
see every single and you also see, like, apparently some kids who decide to go to school early and just, like, work out.
Yeah.
Like, why? Sure.
Yeah.
You need the
Maybe they're in
principal.
maybe they're in what is it when we went to school? 0 hour or whatever that
Oh,
started
yeah, where you have, like, a period before your class or
before.
before the
Yeah.
real school day.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Could be.
Mm.
But even in the song, he's basically expressing that he feels like he's a loser.
Yeah, he's
He
a
feels like
goof.
he's a geek in school. No one likes him. And he's trying to impress Roxanne. Like he needs to do something to get her to notice him.
Yeah, but that's why I wonder, is it that back to the nightmare? Is it he doesn't want to be a goof or his dad? Because literally, if you watch this, when he walks out the house, he can't even open the gate. Goof. Then he
Yeah.
falls on some marbles. Goof.
Hmm.
Then he falls down the steps. Like he keeps on doing like actual goofy with a lowercase g things,
Yeah.
not with the uppercase G like his dad.
But his dad does all those things too,
I
naturally.
know, but because he's a goof, their last name is Goof.
True. True.
So I don't know.
I'll show you why I think it's specifically his dad, but it's not to that part yet.
Okay.
So anyway, he obviously gets to school,
Mm-hmm.
and he meets with his friend Bobby and PJ.
Bobby.
And I feel like Bobby is one of those characters that, like, he probably came to school high,
Yeah,
and
Bobby's a stoner.
had he not stopped like smoking weed, he'd probably be going to Harvard because I feel like he's smart,
He is
but
smart.
he's just
He like I think he like runs like the tech club or something because he
yeah.
has like a TV. He knows how to like do all these things with like wires. That sounds
Hmm.
really dumb. But yeah, Bobby is very smart, but he is a
Yeah,
stoner.
yeah, but we like him. You
Yeah,
always have one of those friends in your group, so
true. Which also makes me one thing I noticed, this is quite an adult movie for like a Disney cartoon.
mhm.
Like I think there's a lot of themes in here and things that happen. Like again, reminds me of like a John Hughes high school movie. Like it
Yeah,
does not feel like this fits in line with any of the Disney movies that we grew up with.
true, true. It's funny that you got 16 Candles because for some reason I got Grease. I don't know why.
Oh, well, there's a part where he runs up to the, like, steps and does that whole Danny in the corner, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
"Uh-huh."
Exactly.
Like, he
That's
does
probably
that.
where I got it from.
Yeah, but, like, I think that's true, but Grease is also, even though it's a high school movie, it's, like, a lot of adult themes,
Mhm,
you
mhm.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Bobby.
We like Bobby and
I like
PJ.
Bobby. And
PJ's
Peach.
sweet. He's sweet. But basically they have this master plan during a school assembly,
Mhm.
to take over the school assembly and to turn it into like a Powerline concert.
Yeah.
And Max is the one that's going to be playing Powerline. And this is to impress Roxanne.
Yeah,
So
well, and
she
the
will
whole
notice
school.
him. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and when there's a part that I miss, but he's on the bleachers towards the end of that first opening song and he runs into Roxanne.
Mhm.
And he has that same dream that he had where he laughs like
But
Goofy.
but he doesn't in real life. He's like, "Huh?"
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But it's embarrassing to him and he freaks out, but I feel like Roxanne, you can kind of tell she doesn't mind, like she thinks it's cute.
Yeah, she thinks it's cute.
Yeah.
But I
So,
also am just like, is this their first interaction ever? Because he makes it seem like the first time she ever talked to you.
yeah. Well, maybe it is the first time they've talked.
Could be.
But they're in the same classes, aren't they?
They don't ever go to class. We don't
Oh,
know.
yeah, that's true. I
We
just
literally
assume.
see them in like 20 minutes of this school day. It's the last day of school.
True, true. But anyways, we get to the assembly.
Mhm.
Max takes over with Bobby and PJ's super skills.
Wait, hold
And
on. Before you start
what?
that, at the assembly, they start with the class president,
Stacy.
Stacy, which I think is really funny. She tells the whole entire school, I hope you'll be at my party next week to watch the Powerline concert
Yeah.
on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Stacy, you have a big nice house to invite the whole school?
Apparently.
Like, that seemed like it should have been an invite only, but she's like telling
Yeah.
the whole school, the whole student
Yeah.
body.
Yeah. And everyone's coming.
And everyone's coming.
And every single person loves Powerline.
Yeah, I mean, this seems like a world that is just basically populated by dogs. Like anthropomorphic dogs. So
Yeah.
I feel like Powerline is the most popular anthropomorphic dog. And so
Yeah.
everybody likes them.
Yeah, true. It's true. But this is one of, I feel like, an iconic scene in Goofy movie
Mhm.
is you hear the first Powerline song, which is Tevin Campbell Stand Out.
Mhm.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make sure I don't get that one and the other song
No,
confused.
stand out.
Which is a song definitely from my childhood that we listen to all the time.
Yeah. There was even like I think the most point of it is it's a piece of cake.
Yeah.
Yeah, our varsity cheerleading team used that in a competition song where they like all paused and it was like, it's a piece of cake. And then they went into these stunts and I thought it was like, varsity's the best. Yeah, like I was like, you guys are so smart.
Oh my goodness. But I think, I mean, I don't know about you, but I think Tevin Campbell was perfect for this.
Yeah, which
The
makes me sad
song
that
was
he wasn't
perfect.
bigger. Yeah, he should have been
Yeah.
way bigger than what he was in the 90s.
You mean like outside of Disney or in his?
Just like in general, like
Yeah.
Leslie Jones in her stand-up does a whole thing about Tevin Campbell and how like everybody only knows one Tevin Campbell song.
And
Is
what
her
is it?
whole it's Can
Can
we
we
talk
talk
for a
for a
minute?
minute?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Girl, I want, which is funny because I was like, that would not be the one Tevin Campbell song that I would say. I don't even know it would be Goofy. Like our dad actually we used to listen to his like debut album from like start to finish on the way to school because my dad would play it on a little cassette tape. But he should have been much bigger, I feel like, than what he was.
Yes.
Absolutely. We should delete that singing of us because that was bad.
I'm sure if you know Tevin Campbell, you know what song we were singing.
Oh, 100%.
So it's fine. But yes, he does an awesome job. And I love that they put him in this. I mean, he's the only one that I know associated with this movie, so I can't really picture anybody else. But
yeah, you're kind of acting like they did that on purpose. I think he just probably auditioned like anybody other did. Yeah, I don't know that he was personally approached.
Yeah, but I mean, it's so perfect. Like 20 years later, 30 years later.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm still listening to it.
And I'm sure the sad part is a lot of people who listen to Powerline probably don't even know that it is Tevin Campbell. They just think Powerline.
So it was funny because Jason was watching this with me and he's like, who sings this song? And I was like, I was so offended.
23.
I was like, it's Tevin Campbell. He's like, who's that? And then I started singing his song. He's like, oh yeah, they used to play those at our middle school dances.
He is not your little brother. That's another one of his songs, guys.
Yeah. And then I was like, well, did they used to play his song at our school dances? Because remember how Dad used to DJ our middle school dances?
Oh, I never got to that point.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I never got to that point in Japan.
Yeah, well, our dad used to middle school or DJ my middle school dances, but I don't think he played any Tevin Campbell.
I'm sure he did.
Yeah. But anyways, we love Tevin Campbell.
Yeah, we went on a Tevin Campbell tangent.
Yes. So in this whole performance that Max is doing, he does get the attention of Roxanne and she like loves it.
Yeah, they got, like, pyrotechnics going, like,
Yeah.
graphics.
Yeah,
Like, it's a whole
exactly.
perform he's doing the
Yeah.
moonwalk.
Yeah. Which I think is interesting because they actually use the moonwalk several times in this movie.
But it's, like, the early '90s. Michael Jackson's huge, so
True. True.
why
Very
not?
true. Yeah. But the principal pulls a plug. Max gets in trouble, goes to the principal's office, and
As
they're
do Bobby
obviously
and PJ.
yes, all three of them. Bobby, of course, true to his character, tries to sweet talk the principal. Obviously, it's not going to work. Poor
Principal
PJ.
Mazer.
Yeah, poor PJ. His life is going to end. He thinks his dad's basically going to beat him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he says squish him like a bug, not beat
Yeah.
him.
Well, And then comes to Max. He runs into Roxanne in the principal's office again, and he has enough courage to ask her to that Powerline party that Stacy's holding to watch it. She says yes, so obviously it's a win for him.
He's on cloud 9.
Yeah. And what I think is interesting after he finds that out is he does the dance that in the beginning that Goofy did in his room that he said, Dad, the neighbors are going to watch. It's the exact same thing. And now
Oh, the
he's doing it in
mambo?
public. Yeah. Which I thought it was pretty funny.
I didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah. So he's more like his dad than he thinks.
Mm.
But the principal calls Goofy while he's at work, which his job is just so awkward.
It's such
So
a what?
Goofy and
Pete.
Pete. And they like run a photo center.
They like when you used to go to Sears to get family photos, but the
Yeah.
family photo shop was in Sears?
Yeah.
That's what they do. Their like Photoshop is in this shopping center.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're taking pictures of little kids.
Yeah.
Which is random. But anyways, naturally Goofy's good with children.
Mhm.
And the principal gives him a call saying your kid's in trouble. And what I find interesting is he references like his kid's going to end up in the electric chair.
Well, he
He
also said he was dressed like a gang
gang
member.
member, yeah, causing riots, which is very extreme.
Like he's just wearing like a hoodie and some baggy jeans.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. It was extreme.
Yeah.
But Goofy, like, he thinks his son can do nothing wrong.
Mhm.
Pete basically gets in his head and says, like, you need to get on top of this type of thing.
Yeah, which Pete
So
is PJ's dad.
yes, who's a lot more strict than Goofy,
Yes.
obviously. So fast forward a little bit, Goofy decides to take Max on a one-on-one fishing trip.
Yeah. But wait, hold
So
on. Before you get to the fishing. Oh, no, go ahead. Maybe you haven't gotten there yet.
which part?
No, keep going.
The fishing trip?
Well, you said decide to take him on a fishing trip.
Yeah, decided to take him on a fishing trip. So when Max goes home, Goofy doesn't even let him in the door. He just shoves him in the car basically and says, we're going fishing.
Yeah, I was gonna say before Max goes home, he leaves school and like PJ starts saying like you're the man, like I heard about Roxanne, and like he starts to chant like out because everyone's like that was so cool, Max, like that was great, and then everyone starts chanting like Max, 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 and then when he runs out, he's not a goof anymore. Like he can ride a skateboard, he's doing tricks, he's got the backwards hat, he's dancing real good. Like it seems like Max's self-esteem when it gets like a hike, he no longer is a goof.
Yeah.
Like he can do things really, really well.
Yeah, that is true. And now he's the cool kid in school.
Yeah, on the last day.
But they're all going to the Powerline party, so they'll still see each other.
That's true.
So he gets home, Goofy shoves him in the car, basically. Max obviously has an attitude, wants nothing to do with his dad, doesn't want to go fishing. He wants to go to this Powerline concert party and impress Roxanne.
Max, I'm going to say it. Max is a dick.
Yeah,
Max is not a nice person. The things he says to Goofy, if we ever told Dad, yep, that's not going to happen, shut the car door. Ooh.
That is true.
Like the things he says and how he says it to Goofy are just not okay. He's very rude.
Yeah. And then poor Goofy, it doesn't really like phase him, I feel like.
Well, he just wants to, he's so
At this
loving and
part.
kind. Yeah, he's just like, I guess I'll go all alone.
Yeah. He's like, okay. He doesn't even care. But eventually he gets him in the car and they're on their way to this, what is it? Lake Destiny.
Yeah, Lake Destiny, Idaho.
Yeah, and this trip is the exact same trip that Goofy used to take with his dad.
Mhm.
Um, but on the way, of course, Max has to stop at Roxanne's house and tell her
Yeah.
that he can no longer go to the Powerline party.
Mhm.
So he goes to Roxanne's, meets the dad, who's a humongous like bulldog, looks like.
Yeah, who, like, she smacks on the butt. She's like, "Good daddy,"
Yeah,
to
I
get,
think
like, back in. She's, like, smacking him on the butt, and I'm like,
I thought that was weird
such
too.
a weird, just because she's small, she's like, "Good daddy." And I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And why can't he speak?
I think it's just to show that he's intimidating. I don't know.
I don't know. It was a whole weird interaction. But anyways, so he starts to kind of like tell like he's not going to be able to go, but instead he sees that she's getting sad about it. So he makes up this lie that his dad knows Powerline
Mhm.
and they're going to go to
To
his
the concert.
concert and they're going to make a debut on stage basically
Mhm.
with Powerline. And she's all excited.
Yeah.
So
Liar.
tisk tisk. But so they leave. Obviously, she's impressed and they start their journey.
Girls are dumb. Like, why would that impress me? Cool.
Because you know Powerline. That's cool.
Sure.
But they go on this trip. They're following the same map, like I said, as his dad. He has like all these random stops on the way in this trip.
Mhm.
Stops are the same stops that he used to make with his dad.
Yeah.
So in the beginning part of the trip, you can see Max's attitude already. They're trying to play like music. He's into like the rock music. Goofy's playing some, it's almost like sing along preschool music, sounds like to me.
Yeah, and they're also, like, on 8-track tapes, which I think shows, like, how old they are because,
Mm,
like, it's when Goofy was a little kid.
yeah, yeah, that's true. But they go back and forth. Max has an attitude. Poor Goofy. He's just trying to, bond with his son. So the first place that they go is I was gonna make the same face. They go to like some janky country jamboree.
Yeah, but it's like
It's
Lester's
a
Possum Palace or something.
exactly. Oh, I learned it. Lester's Possum Park.
Ugh.
And you go in and it is like the country jamboree at Disneyland, but just way downgraded.
Yeah, like Chuck E.
Um,
Cheese.
yeah, but it's a little more sketchy than Chuck E. Cheese.
You don't think Chuck E. Cheese is sketchy?
Not from what I remember.
Those things are creepy. And
Well, these
half
are
the
like
time they
falling apart. Sparks are coming out.
neither was Chuck E. Cheese. Half of them, like one with usually the weird bird on the guitar didn't work. Just her eyes would close, but she'd be completely still.
But yeah, didn't she have a pink skirt on? Yellow pink skirt? I don't know.
I don't know. She was just pink. She like not even moving, playing guitar.
Yeah, that's true. But basically that whole scene is just Goofy trying to like relive his childhood with Max, and
Mhm.
Max is just completely embarrassed.
Yeah.
Tries to take pictures with him, get him a hat. Um, they're all laughing at him because they're saying that he's being just as goofy as his dad.
This is what confused me though, because when they're doing this thing, like Goofy starts like kind of dancing with Max around and like does like a ta-da, and people are
Mhm.
laughing and clapping. Are they laughing at them or are they entertained?
I get both for
Because
some
like
reason.
Max makes it worse. Like he starts like running around the circle trying to get out and like takes the hat and throws it. I'm like, my dude, you're being super dramatic right now. And it
Yeah.
seems like your dad just entertained the crowds and the kids.
Yeah. True.
What a
But the
sweet
younger
thing.
kids in that crowd are making fun of Max. That's what he like hones in on.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
just again, just rude.
Yeah, he is rude.
He also
And he
like
throw
punches one of the
Oh,
costume guys.
yeah.
Like, do not touch
That's
the
really
costume
aggressive,
guys.
I feel like.
Yeah.
But so he storms off, obviously, attitude in the car. They're not talking to each other. Goofy I think this is the first part where you see that Goofy kinda gets sad, I feel
Yeah,
like.
he's like hurt.
Yeah, that he's not paying attention to him. So they pull off, they're gonna do a camping. They're gonna camp that night.
Mhm.
Goofy's, like, trying to set up the tent, Max is over there pouting, obviously. Um, and
I
Goofy
have no
tries to
sympathy
come
for Max.
I see that. And Goofy tries to teach him, like, the perfect cast.
For fishing.
Yeah, and this is, like, some thing that takes like 20 minutes to get the line in the water.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, it's a fancy dance and whatever. Max really doesn't pay attention to it. But you'll see later in the movie he actually did pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
But so he's trying to bond. Of course, in the middle of them trying to bond over camping, Pete and his son come with this giant RV that's super fancy. Sets up camp like right on top of their site. Has
Literally right on
bowling.
top of it.
Yeah, has a bowling alley, swimming pool, basketball court.
Which this is what
Everything.
gets me. Goofy and Pete have the same job. How can Pete afford this mega RV and then Goofy is literally in like a no joke like triangle pitch tent?
Yeah, that's true.
With like a 1978 8-track playing car.
Yeah.
Like it makes I don't understand how the money discrepancy between Pete and Goofy are.
Yeah, maybe he's the manager. I don't know.
The manager at the photo hut?
Yeah, maybe.
Nice RV like that.
I don't know. But he has this nice RV. Obviously, Max is jealous.
Yeah.
But his friend's PJ's there, which I find weird that when he goes to see his friend in the RV, he's like cleaning.
Because he's a strict dad. He just got in trouble. Yeah. He's probably
True.
grounded.
No, that's true. I did forget about that. Yeah, that's true. That is true. And of course, he's listening to Powerline because they don't listen to any other music.
No other
Powerline
music exists.
Yeah. So they kind of hang out a bit. Goofy wants to continue the trip as planned. Like they want to camp outside wilderness. Max doesn't want to. He wants to stay with PJ and his dad. PJ and his dad. And Pete kind of like gives these subtle like hints to Goofy, like, no, you need to be strict. Like what you say goes type of thing.
Keep them under your thumb.
Exactly. So, my light just fell.
Cute.
Yeah.
Mom and Pop still going in strong.
Yeah. So I look a little dark. That's why. So he convinces him to come back. He tells him like, no, we're leaving. So what I find funny is he throws that perfect cast line. Basically, he catches like a steak off the grill randomly, throws it in the middle of the woods. He ends up catching Bigfoot on his line, which turns out to be this whole scene that actually I feel like is the first time they start to bond a little bit, because they end up getting stuck in the vehicle because Bigfoot's outside.
Yeah.
They end up getting stuck in the vehicle together and they've got to spend all night in there.
Yeah, and which Max makes it seem like it's Goofy's fault. And it's like,
yeah,
it's nobody's fault. This is Bigfoot.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and instead of like enjoying the moment, he's worried about them getting rich because they have the only like Bigfoot footage. Did you catch that?
Oh yeah, because Goofy started watching, and then Bigfoot, like Goofy started recording, and then Bigfoot took the camera and like pulled it out, and then Max was like, "Ugh."
Yeah. And then the world.
Goofy's fault.
Yeah. But I think it's funny. That whole scene I think is really cute. But you see that they start to bond because they're stuck in this car alone. Max gets hungry, and there's like one can of soup. It's like alphabet soup. And they need to eat it.
Well, he gets to eat it.
Yeah. And he warms it up with a cigarette lighter, which I don't think really works in real life.
But I did appreciate the line where he said, well, it's good to know that this is good for something, meaning Goofy doesn't smoke.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Thanks, Disney.
Yeah.
Good message to kids.
Yes, yes. And he also, this is the first time that he gets to kind of see the map himself of the route to Lake Destiny.
That wasn't a good lead up, Nicole.
Yeah.
Nicole, explain that better.
They're in the car and they're sleeping, and Max accidentally hits the glove box and it opens the map. And that's the first time we've seen the map. It's exactly what I just said.
That sounded more like he was given the map to see, when in this point he stumbles upon it while his dad's sleeping.
True.
Which was also, I wrote down, it was actually a very scary scene.
Why?
I thought it was a little, because it was like, you had Bigfoot and Goofy snoring. There was like kind of creepy music. The light from the glove box was coming out all like orange and yellow. And Max is like,
yeah, I guess
trying to do his little dirty. I mean, you haven't explained that part yet, but like it was. I thought it was scary.
Yeah, I think it's just to show that he's about to do something wrong, and all the pressure's on him. So he actually ends up changing the map. and changing the route to go to LA, heading towards Powerline instead of Lake Destiny without Goofy knowing.
Which is really funny. Apparently, the only landmarks on the map is a fish in Los Angeles.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, that's the only. It's like America, and then it's like up north is a fish, and down south is LA.
Yeah, that's true. So he ends up changing it. They wake up in the morning. They're back on their journey. So with their bonding that they've done, Goofy is now going to give the map to Max and say, like, now you can take it. Now you can read it. You're going to guide us there. Like, it's your responsibility. And I feel like you can tell he knows he's done something wrong and he almost wants to say something, but he doesn't. He just goes along with it.
Who does, Max?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you noticed, though, in that scene, because that happens in like a diner, have you noticed how many nuns have been in this movie so far? Nuns keep popping up everywhere in the background.
Yeah.
They're at the store where Goofy works. They were in one of the cars during one of the songs. They were in
That's
like
true.
the booth next to them. Why so many nuns?
Yeah, that's true. Maybe it's a message, a hidden message.
I mean, at that diner was also like Elvis and cowboys.
Oh,
But
I didn't catch that.
oh yeah, the nuns to me, I was like, y'all are here again?
Is it the same nuns?
Oh, I don't know. Are they going to the Powerline concert?
It could be.
I didn't notice it was the same nuns, but it was definitely a group of nuns, which
Yeah.
a
That's
gaggle of
cute.
nuns.
Yeah. But I think it's cute because the next set of like scenes is them really bonding. It's basically Max is picking spots to stop at that cater to him. So like roller coasters, things like that. But then he sees that his dad's like not enjoying himself. So he picks like the biggest ball of yarn
Yeah.
exhibit place to go to. So I think it's really cute because then they actually bond.
Yeah.
And they get to a part where Max picks a motel to stay, which is, I don't know. For some reason, it reminds me of those supernatural hotels that they stay in.
Oh yeah, it's like themed. It's like
Yeah, it's like the
coral
Little
and
Mermaid. Yeah,
yeah, it's called the Neptune Inn.
yeah. And Pete and his dad miraculously show up. So I don't know. Are
No,
they following them? PJ.
PJ and his
Yeah,
dad.
PJ and his dad are following them.
They might be, but can we just talk about how Pete like knocks on the door and saying it's the cops, open up, and then when
Oh yeah,
Goofy, he's like, it's the police, open up, we got you Goof surrounded, come out. And then Goofy opens up the door and he's like with like handguns, and I'm like, this is not appropriate to like, especially it made me think of like all the kids that like fake do the SWAT things, like like I mean,
yeah.
Goofy and Max do say how they were scared or like they're picking on each other because they're scared. And I
Yeah.
was like, if someone
Yeah.
knocked on my door that I wasn't expecting saying it was the cops, I would also be scared.
Yeah. Yeah. That is true. That is true. But somehow they end up in the same place.
Yeah, creepers.
And there's a scene where Goofy's enjoying himself in the hot tub, and of course Pete comes and he's overheard Max and PJ talking about how Max changed the map, so he just has to rub it in his face, I feel like. I don't know. I feel like he doesn't want like Goofy and his dad to be close, or Max and his dad to be close. Like, because the relationships are so different.
Yeah, but them. Like, you probably think Goofy's dad took him on these cool trips. I'm sure Pete's dad probably made him clean his RV at one point.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they're just repeating the same historical patterns.
Yeah, that's true. But it's really sad, I feel like, the scene, because Goofy, like, he really wants to trust his son. Like, his son's not as bad as people are making him out to be. But he does end up eventually checking the map and he sees that it's changed, which makes me very sad. So they get into the car, they go back on their road trip. He knows the map's been changed, and like, this is a really important, like, serious moment, I feel like, because they come to a junction and basically, what was it, north, south, east, west, whatever it was.
No, it was only north and west. Oh. I had that in my notes. Literally, this junction, all the road signs say north or west.
Oh.
Idaho, California.
Exactly.
That's all the signs said.
So one's going to be Lake Destiny, the other one's LA.
Yeah.
And he's expecting Max to like make the right choice. Like, he still believes in him. He's going to make the right one. He's going to go to Lake Destiny. And he doesn't. He chooses Powerline.
Says go left.
Yes.
Which is towards California.
Yes. And basically, Goofy's had enough. pulls over, and that's when they kind of like let everything out, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this whole scene about, the car rolling down the hill. They're chasing it. In the meantime, they're fighting along the whole way.
Which
Max.
Max is the one who leaned up against the car to make it roll down the hill, and he's blaming Goofy for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he's saying, like, I never wanted to go on this stupid trip. And Goofy's like, well, I just wanted to be close to you, blah, blah, blah. All of that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad. But they're
Yeah.
basically letting everything out.
Mm-hmm.
And they end up in the water.
Yes, in like a canyon river that looks like sewer water.
Oh.
Did you notice? It's like
I didn't notice
green.
that.
Oh, I did. I was like, what kind of river is this? It's like green, poopy water. Ugh. I don't know.
It looked more like Grand Canyon to me, but I have no idea.
Is that what the water looks like in the Grand Canyon? Poopy water?
I haven't been to the Grand Canyon.
Then how do you say it looks like it?
I don't know. Just the rocks and everything. Okay, anyways. They're not drinking it, so they're fine.
Sure.
So they're floating down this river. They're basically here, like he's letting it all out, both of them. And they're, he wanted to spend time with him. And there's a point where he tells Goofy, this was for Roxanne. This is what I told her, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. He has his own life.
Yeah. He doesn't want anything, he's grown up. He's not a little kid anymore, basically. And then it kind of goes to a point to where they hit this waterfall, and it's like a life or death moment.
Yeah.
And Max gets separated, and he's about to fall down this waterfall. Mm-hmm. And Goofy has to save him. And this moment, like, you can see the father-son bond, I feel like. I mean, obviously, his kid's about to fall over and die.
Yeah, Goofy's not gonna be like, peace out.
Yeah, so
bye, Max.
Yeah. But it ends up being Goofy's the one that's gonna fall.
Yeah.
Because Max miraculously, like, has a parachute.
Yeah, like the way the tent like got caught up in the car when Max goes over, it like wraps around him into a parachute.
Exactly. And then he miraculously gets the fishing pole, and he's going to do the perfect cast and catch his dad down the waterfall. Mm-hmm. And he saves the day. Yay. Which is cool. Yeah. And after this, Goofy, being such a good dad that he is going to sacrifice for his son, and he's going to take him to Powerline and get him on the stage. You don't agree, Brittany?
Oh, I mean,
you're rolling your eyes.
I have so many feelings about Max in this movie. So many feelings. Like, I get it. Like, obviously Goofy wants his son to be happy, and that's what's going to make him happy. But he was just so mean to him. Like, I want a happy ending, but like, I just needed like maybe it was that it was so quick. It was like, they're going down this river and they talk about their feelings, and then they like save each other. And then literally the next scene is like at the Powerline concert. Like, maybe I needed one more beat in between them being saved, and like maybe trying to figure out like, so now we're in LA. What are we going to do? How are we going to get in the concert?
Yeah.
Like something. Yeah. I just needed like one more thing.
Yeah, that is true. Because the scene actually flips to them in their luggage being thrown into the concert, and you don't know how they got there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they're already in like the band's gear.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Well, you'll just have to imagine what happened in between then. But they roll up in the luggage into the concert. Another iconic Tevin Campbell song, which is Eye to Eye. This is going to be the final Powerline concert. And it kind of shows like different scenes of them trying to get onto the stage. And somehow Goofy ends up in like this little, what would you even call it? Like
it looks like a fortune teller's ball.
Yeah, it kind of does.
It's just like how the mechanism, or like the entertainment mechanism to get like Powerline from
things
below stage to on stage.
Yeah. So Goofy ends up in the middle of the stage while Max is like running away from
security.
Exactly. And Powerline obviously notices Goofy, and Max just screams like, show him the perfect cast. Like, it could translate into a dance move.
Not the best.
Yeah. But he does it, and the Powerline and his backup dancers miraculously know it. like, saw
Say
it once and they can
miraculous,
do it.
not.
Yeah, it's
It's not
miraculously.
it's miraculously means like a miracle. It's
Yes,
not a
it is a miracle.
miracle.
They literally learned a whole dance in, like, 2 seconds. I'm not
Maybe
that
they're just
talented.
savants.
I'm just not that talented, okay?
They're professional.
So, they know all these dance moves. Max falls, makes it to the stage, and he has his own dance move, and they all dance together.
Mhm.
While this is happening, they show Stacy's party watching Powerline, and of course, Roxanne sees Max on stage.
Yeah. Poor
And is
Stacy was the only one who dressed up for the party. Everyone else is
oh,
just wearing their normal clothes.
I didn't even
Stacy,
notice
like,
that.
looks like a flapper. She got, like, a flapper dress on with, like, a thing in her hair. I was like, "What was
No.
the theme here, Stacy?"
She's just hosting.
Yeah.
And Roxanne loves it. It's a success. The other thing fast thing too is they automatically flip scenes. They're already home, and
Yeah.
Max and Goofy goes over to Roxanne's house again,
Mhm.
and Max actually ends up coming clean and says, we never were really going to do this. We didn't know Powerline. I was just doing a trip with my dad. And then she tells Max, she liked him from before. Like, you didn't have to lie, basically.
The first time she heard him.
Yeah, she thought it was cute. So Goofy meets, Roxanne, and that's really the end of the movie. It ends on a very happy note. Did you want it to be happier?
No, it's
Something
just
different?
this reminds me of when we watched Home Alone. When I was a
Hmm.
kid, I rooted so hard for Helen McAllister. Like, I wanted Kevin McAllister to win. I hated the bandits. Like, Kevin could do no wrong. I was like, yeah, like, your family's jerks to you. They're mean to you. Like, you need to get revenge or whatever.
Hmm.
Now watching this movie, as a kid, I loved Max and was like all rooting for Max and was like, yeah, like he got what he wanted. And yeah, like Goofy, we're not trying to be like you. Now I watch it as an adult. And I'm like, Max, you are an ungrateful little snot.
Hmm.
Like, the things that Goofy does for Max and how kind and sweet and like there's a moment when they're in the water where he says, like, I just want to be part of your life.
Yeah.
Like, his dad is amazing and Max is being so rude to him. So like the
Hmm.
fact that he gets to go to the Powerline concert and gets the girl, like, come on. I do appreciate that he admitted that he lied to both
Yes.
Goofy and Roxanne. But
Yes.
like, I
Hmm.
think this time watching it back, I was like, Max, you're a little creep.
Yeah.
Like, you're not the best.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like that's the purpose of this podcast is I feel like if you're a kid, you're going to relate more to Max. You don't want your parents embarrassing you. Maybe you're not as rude to your parents though as Max was, but you're not going to, want to spend every moment with them.
I mean, I once told dad to make my bed and ooh boy.
I don't remember that, but
It was when we were still living in Japan and dad said, make your bed. And I was like, you make it. It was like,
uh,
no way. And like the things he says to Goofy, no way
yeah.
would fly in our house.
Yeah, very true. We just had a different upbringing apparently. But with that being said, the most important question is, does this movie still hold up or is it just nostalgia?
Can
I
you go
have
first?
I have a feeling I know what you're going to say. Yes, I can go first.
Okay, thank
I
you.
think I think this movie still holds up. I do. Yep. Take
I'm
that talk.
I don't know. I don't know if I can honestly answer because it's not that this movie doesn't hold up. It is actually, I think, one of the first movies we've watched that I've completely seen it in an entirely new light.
Oh.
Like I said, just going back to like my comment about it being like a John Hughes but cartoon, I
Mhm.
now saw this not even as a kid's movie, but like as like a young adult teenager movie.
Mhm.
Like, all the Disney movies are fairy tales. They're princesses
Yeah.
chasing after thrones. They're magic. They're, all these things. But then here's this movie that is literally just about a father and son who are drifting apart and wanting to be their own people, but the father still wanting to hold on to his son and like the
Mhm.
son resisting. Like,
Yeah.
it's really is a completely new movie. So it's not necessarily that I think it's nostalgia. I
Mhm.
I think that it's me seeing this movie for the first time in a completely different viewpoint, and for
Yeah.
that reason I think that it holds up.
Mhm.
um The music for sure holds up
all day.
But yeah, it's just one of those movies where I'm like, wow, I just completely watched like a brand new movie for the first time.
Yeah. It's also a very simple movie.
Yeah,
like you said,
father
it's
and
not
son.
full of magic and fairy tales and stuff. It's very simple.
Yeah, it's like the
It's like an
first
everyday.
it's real world.
Mhm.
It's the
Yeah.
real world. Like it's kids going to school, dad's at work.
Mhm.
It's not,
Yep.
singing in the hills. That's not Disney, but
Singing in the
I was thinking
hills.
Sound of Music for
Sound of
like
Music.
yeah. That's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, very true. But with that being said, if you have not watched this movie, it is worth a watch, I think, personally. But thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. We appreciate you coming back to us since we have been on a little bit of a break. And next week, we have decided, since we watched this movie,
Yeah.
we've decided to go into our Disney classics month for April.
We're leaning into the Disney.
Yes, we are. But more emphasis on classics, which you'll know it. Yeah, so we're starting with what? Beauty and the Beast?
Beauty and the Beast, aka the best Disney movie. Fight me.
That's for next week. But with that being said, we hope you all enjoyed this podcast and tune in next week for Beauty and the Beast. With that being said, we hope you all have a very good week.
How many times are we going to say with that being said?
Hey, Brittany, be quiet. We hope you have a good week and a good movie night. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody.